What's up everyone, Brenden here once again bringing you all another episode of Gaming Details. In this week's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Wolfenstein games, which were suggested to us by YouTube users Thelvedem, McCarkle, and Meep the Fish. Thank you all so much for the suggestions. Before we start, I just want to let everyone know that we now have merch. Go to gamingbygamers.com to check it out. Now, let's jump right into the details. Starting off our list, we're going to load up Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. In the game, if you happen upon a dead soldier, give them a whack in the head and you may see their helmet come off. By doing so, it'll also actually allow you to pick up the armor for you to use for yourself. Shooting the helmet off will also work just as well, but it's definitely not as fun as smacking it off the head of a dead Nazi. On to our next detail, let's load up Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Upon entering the Oberkommando base, you will find that inside there's a super reactor which appears to be called Die Glock. In German, this translates to the Bell. For those of you who don't know, the Bell, or Die Glock, was supposedly a secret Nazi superweapon that some speculate had anti-gravity and even time-traveling capabilities. It was quite fitting for the developers to add this fabled piece of technology in the game based around the idea of Nazis coming to power in an alternate history. Speaking of Nazi technology that never actually made its way into existence, let's head over to Wolfenstein: The New Order. In one of the scenes from the game where we have a view of the police headquarters, we can see a very large building towering over everything in the background. This building, which is called the Volksschau, was actually a concept thought of by Adolf Hitler and one of his architects named Albert Speer. Hitler envisioned this building as being the world's capital. However, as we all know, things didn't work out how he wanted. For our next detail, you will have to pay close attention. In Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, players can hear two enemy guards talk to one another in this room. Normally, you would go in guns blazing and take them out, but if you stay out of sight and listen to their conversation, you will hear this.
Also, ich legte im Bett neben diesem Mädchen und...
Lag.
Was?
Du hast im Bett gelegen, nicht gelegt.
Legen, liegen, wo ist der Unterschied?
Du legst Eier. Du liegst im Bett. Ich nehme an, du bist kein Vogel, oder?
Willst du jetzt die Geschichte hören oder nicht?
Die Sprache richtig zu können ist wichtig.
Warum hackst du ständig auf jedermanns Grammatik rum?
Now, it might seem like this was just a conversation between a guy and his actually friend, but he was correcting him on his grammar, and that makes him a literal grammar Nazi. Moving on to the fifth detail, in Wolfenstein: The New Order, BJ agrees to go undercover in a Nazi labor camp. When you get to the camp, you have to sit down and get a camp serial number tattooed on his forearm. This is only shown once, and if you blink, you'll miss it. The number on his arm reads 4, 15, 15, and 13. At first, it seems random, but if you assign each number with its corresponding letter of the alphabet, it spells out Doom, an obvious homage to the Doom franchise, which is also published by Bethesda. Up next, for our sixth detail, let's take a look at one of the characters from Wolfenstein: New Order. He is referred to as Jay in the game, but for us classic rock fans out there, we all know who this character is based off of, which is Jimi Hendrix. For those who might not know, Jimi Hendrix is referred to as one of the most influential guitarists of all time, and can even be seen playing one of his guitars in the game. The developers really must have been fans of his because they didn't leave out the fact that he was left-handed, and also that he would play right-handed guitars but flipped upside down. On to our seventh detail, we're sticking with the music theme, but moving over to Wolfenstein: The New Order and The New Colossus. In the game, there is a band named Die Kaffer. It is shown to be the most popular band in Nazi-occupied USA. So far, no detail, but translate Die Kaffer and you get the Beatles. It makes even more sense when you take into account that the game is set in the 1960s, around the same time the Beatles were most popular. You could even unlock a track from their album in the New Order, and this is the album cover. Heading on to our eighth detail, we're going to take a look at some of the diary entries in Wolfenstein: The New Order. At the end of Romana's diary entries, which were narrated by Anya, it was implied that Anya was actually the one who did all the things in the entries rather than her cousin. And if you look at the thumbnails for the diary entries, you can see that the book says Anya's diary in Polish. Throughout Wolfenstein 2, you can find and read postcards during the campaign. These are usually messages to people back home who are fighting for the Nazi party, but there is one in particular that stands out. If you pick up this particular card, it reads, "Dear Satinin, well here I sit in a dingy hotel, thinking of you, mother. You're what keeps me going through these lonesome days. I try to show what I'm capable of, but these German producers tell me I sing weird. They think I'm too influenced by the darker side of American music. I'll be home to see you soon, mama. All my love, E." If you don't know much about Elvis Presley, this may have flown over your head. Elvis used Satinin as a nickname for his mother in real life. And with that context in mind, you can see that this is an obvious reference to the king of rock and roll himself. Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Gaming Details. I really hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can be notified as soon as our latest videos come out. If you have a suggestion for a future episode of Gaming Details, leave it in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.